This is a 2003 Powerstroke 7.3. This is one of my favorite engines to do. It is by far the best engine that runs on veggie. The 1.9s do great. The 7.3s are for the big motors. Now you can do Duramaxes, you can do the Dodges, the Cummings. Any of those are fine. But this is really the big daddy, and I like it. This is a system designed specifically for my wife's truck, because what my wife told me was, I don't like the smell of veggie. It's dirty, it's greasy, and she gave me all the objections. So I said, I'm going to build a truck and a system that's going to cover all those problems. So we did. The only thing you're going to see in this truck that you would know it's veggie, two small gauges, again, a fuel pressure gauge and a fuel level gauge inside the truck, down below the boot there. I could probably do a little better job covering those and making them a little sexier, but right now that's what it is. So what we did with this truck is actually go underneath it and custom build a 30-gallon diesel fuel tank that mounts between the rails. So as you look at the truck, you have really no idea that it's a veggie truck. Of course, unless you look at the license plate, which my wife is very proud of and gets a lot of people doing. It's powered by waste vegetable oil. But this is the real key right here. It's a dual filler neck. And what we did was take the stock filler neck and welded some brass filler neck fittings in. This one works for this. Your front tank is diesel, and your rear tank is veggie. And essentially, we hooked everything up under the rail, so the tank is underneath the car. It's not in the car. You're not going to smell veggie. You're not going to have problems in the boot. You're not going to have a limit of storage space that you can put in there. So we actually welded the tank right inside the frame here, and then we put the bat switch right here. Now, the only thing that my wife did ask for, that because she's my wife and she gets what she wants, she wanted an indicator light to say when the veggie is on and when it's off. It makes sense. It reminds her to purge at the end of the day. So we added that, and then I'm not going to ask Steve to get dirty here, but I'll take your camera underneath it if you want me to
Sure.
To show you the filtration system and that sort of thing. A little bit of snow under here, but what we have, as you can see right here, this is let me widen out on that. This is a Raycor Parker filter here, and what we did, we actually added a second diesel filter in that. You can see the 30-gallon tank right there, running between the rails. And then right over here is the veggie filter. So we actually now have 3 filtration points. We have a secondary diesel filter, because we're in a different tank. We heated the stock tank, which on the Excursion is 44 gallons and makes the most sense. And then we have a secondary filter right here. Now what you have to remember on these, and I'm going to get way up under here, is that the Pollock valves, these are common rail diesels. So the Pollock valves that I use, the 6-port Pollocks, have to be located between the pump in the front and the filter in the back. You cannot pull oil through a Pollock valve. Now I've told people this, or I'm sorry, you can't push oil through a Pollock valve. I've told people this many times. Do not try to push oil through a Pollock valve. It has to be pulled through. So we have the heated lines that run all the way back to the stock tank at 44 gallons. So I'm running 74 gallons of fuel at about 20 miles to the gallon. I have a little over 1,500 miles cruising range before I need to stop. And this filter here is heated externally. And what it is, it's a wrap that goes on the outside of the filter and then ties and then keeps it warm for the veggie. So that's really how this system works, but it's all self-contained under the vehicle. And as Steve posts videos as he does the Liberty, you're going to see the same kind of thing, because the Liberty has the same exact kind of setup. It's going to be a little bit smaller, and you'll probably be doing a 15-gallon diesel tank or veggie tank, depending on which one you want to make that tank. But the stock tanks in the Liberties are 20 gallons, so I'm going to suggest to him to heat up the stock tank and then put the 15-gallon diesel tank in it. It's going to be exactly the same kind of setup, but Steve's going to be using some different routing, and he's going to be using what's called a tube and hose design. Now, I'll tell you, I like Steve. He's an interesting cat, but he and I differ on two pretty important categories. One is, I believe in a heated tank. His system doesn't have a heated tank, but it works very well on the IDIs, and I think it will continue to do very well. I believe in a heated tank and a 2-tank system. Never, ever, ever, ever do a 1-tank system. Let somebody tell you that 1 tank is enough and you can just run veggie and you can mix. Don't do it. You're going to have problems down the road. You're going to cost yourself a lot of money and a lot of time.